Welcome to Your Ghana, My Ghana. We're on Graphic Online TV and my name is Dede Amano Wilkes. Today we're looking at an art exhibition currently being hosted at the National Museum of Ghana in Adabraka, Accra. This is the second exhibition in 2 years by artist Jojo Abdallah and it's titled Scitech, an abbreviation of Psychology and Technology. The Scitech exhibition is a collaboration between Compound House Gallery, the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, and Accra Psychiatric Hospital, and we're looking at the role art can play in healing. My guests in the studio today are the artist Jojo Abdallah, medical doctor Enyin Bentum Parko Anan, also known as Dr. Parko, and curator Robin Riskin. Welcome to the studio and thank you so much for joining us here today. And in our show today, we'll also be having a musical interlude by musician Ninoy Note. The musician has a project at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital where Jojo Abdallah keeps his art studio. But before we begin our conversation, let's watch this short video documentary about the exhibition. Meet Jojo Abdallah, a painter who transports us to an enchanting world where coiling leopards and mother mushrooms blend with global Ga traditional history and local ceremonies. Jojo grew up in the Adabraka community of Accra, immersed in Ga culture, and sees himself as a citizen of Ga. For 45 years, Jojo's art studio in the Accra Psychiatric Hospital has been his creative haven. His paintings feature cathedrals, Good Samaritans, hospitals, Ayalolo buses, local customs, and fantastical creatures, reflecting his surroundings and experiences. Jojo's art creates a vehicle for healing. His exhibition, Scitech, showcases his unique blend of fantasy and reality. The name, which stands for Psychology and Technology, is taken from a signboard mounted by the artist at his art studio. Jojo's work has attracted a community of creatives including musicians, artists, photographers and writers. His art explores complex themes like the relationship between psychology, technology, art and science. Through his art, Jojo Abdallah offers a unique perspective on the world. Don't miss the opportunity to experience his extraordinary body of work. Jojo Abdallah,
Yes.
Tell us about the inspiration for your art. How do the ideas come to you?
Yes, I am very creative, and creative means imaginative. I'm not normally somebody who is, I'll say, a painting. Yeah, I didn't do painting very much, but
You've been a painter since childhood.
yes, so I know paint, but I don't know it much. And I was very creative. It was called imaginative. When I say imaginative, it means imaginative art. This complied to my life history, and I started doing things with my poster pencil work and all this is imaginative. Then I put in paintings and other things, like say doing the things it admires, then I'll do the paintings to clarify what I'm doing.
And some of your paintings have a lot of words in them, or a few words in them.
Yes.
Are your paintings also stories that you want to share with the world?
Yes. I did history. So history is my fact that sends me to the museum. Some people, they did an artifact, but they didn't do history. It will not be permanent to go to the museum. But my history is the fact that I know certain things which the museum also know, and it applies to my factor artiquent that whatever I'm doing they are also understand. So that is my rhythm, to do the artworks of history.
And talking about history, I see a lot of interesting themes coming up
Yes.
in this beautiful exhibition
Yes.
catalogue that we have.
Yeah.
A lot of themes like global Ghana, Ghana's
Yes.
first awakening in the Gold Coast,
Gold
Gold Coast at the Republic House.
Yes.
And then there's a lot of cultural references, a lot of Ga culture and tradition. This is interesting, like Ga Homo War Festival is there, Ga outdooring ceremony.
Yes.
It's interesting. You grew up around Adabaka, which is a Ga
yes.
speaking area. You grew up speaking Ga, though your family is not Ga.
Yeah.
But you grew up speaking Ga.
I attended a school at Faris School. And I knew much on Ga access in Adabaka, and Faris School is in Adabaka. It's called Manchetaki Middle School, and that was where I did several certain things on getting to know who is the Adabaka Manche and all those things. So they used to invite my father. We go to rehearsals, we go and sit in the outdooring and other things. Then I studied them.
And when you were studying, you were seeing them as paintings in your mind?
Yes, in the mind. So I was seeing the Homo War Festival. Then we go to Roman Catholic. We also...
The Roman Catholic Cathedral. You
yes.
have paintings with Roman Catholic themes in here, don't you?
Yes.
The cathedral seems very central to your growing up.
Yes, that is where I was in the Adabaka. So it was natural. I saw the events very naturally.
And there's some religious themes: Jesus, the Good Samaritan, Christ, the Good Samaritan.
I saw it in the Holy Spirit Cathedral.
You saw something like this?
Yes, something like
painted it.
Painted it. Yes, imaginative art.
Okay, all right. And more on the historic themes. What did I see? The history of hospitals. There's a lot about hospitals also in your exhibition.
Yeah.
What explains your interest in historic hospitals?
Yes, I just wanted to show them that hospital is not only the fact that it cures, but it's also essential to our family, our chieftaincy, our quadria, so that the relationship between hospital may be done. And even it does not carry anything, but somebody or a chief in the hospital who applies that is very clever. So he has made that all these things in the chieftaincy may be done. And it was recorded in their fact that they do settings, so that if anybody comes with a fault, they can see it to him or solve his problem.
And the title of this exhibition is called Scitech.
Yes.
Can you explain what that means to us?
Yes.
Psychology and technology.
Okay. Scitech is the fact that within my own world, and the natural fact that Scitech is the fact that I'm using that technology or psychology to do the art. Eventually to create. So Scitech is my treat. I use to do the things. And the technology, I will say, psychology, I will say, is the fact that you are using psychology world to imply your certain things either in something like you say advertisement and this advertisement, all those things you have to naturalize them in the sense that psychology is the world.
And we just talked about your world. You were talking about your world.
Yes.
And we talked earlier about the fact that a lot of your pictures have words in them,
Yes.
captions. And sometimes your name appears in a lot. You appear Jo Nyami Trees.
Yes.
Your name appears in quite a few of them.
Yes.
In your world.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little about Jo? How's the house?
Yes.
Jo, how's the house? Yes.
Yeah.
Jo Nyami Working Home. Tell us about some of these.
Jo Nyami, they are far in the bush and in central region. I left Jo Nyami because my parents.
Jo Nyami Treats.
Yes, my parents were no longer Jo Nyami house. Formerly, they do baskets, you know, which is contained by palm tree. They do those baskets and export them to America. And when they export them, they go and normally they put fish into the baskets and send them to America. So it's a basket where we normally do, even when I go and visit the village those days, you see me working. So everybody who comes to visit the house, you have to do something with it. So it's something where all the family goes there to participate. So it's something where it's a natural from the family. But our family left that place and became sawmill. They became sawmill, timber work, and all those things. That led us to go away from, because it does not fetch more money.
Your family left?
I left the
Adabraka area?
No, left the Jo Nyami house.
Okay, Jo Nyami house. Okay, but it was important to you. That's why your name, that name appears in many of the paintings.
Yes.
Do you have any painting that you can say is your favorite from this exhibition or any previous? There are some really unusual themes. There's your leopard's round skin like spots. There's your mother mushroom, which has appeared in a previous exhibition.
Yes.
One of the favorites of the curator, I know.
Yeah.
Do you have favorites?
In the art, what I've done.
Yes.
This
the
one.
Which one is your favorite?
This is my favorite.
This is this one or two paintings?
One or two.
Aha.
Yeah, two.
These two.
Yeah. So it's my favorite.
This is of Jo Nyami house.
Jo Nyami house. And Jo Auza.
And Jo Auza house. Tell us why they're your favorite.
Because of the name Abdallah.
Your family name.
Yeah.
It comes from where?
It comes from what you say. I'll say Islamic. Islamic was the fact that, but mine, Jo Abdallah is sent to the royal family in Polish.
Polish.
Poland.
Okay.
Just for my English artifact on Lebanese. But the fact is that Abdallah that I have, there are so many people called Abdallah, but we are the first to be called Abdallah. Even we have some people also, they call them Abdullah. And Abdallah Lai, Hamdallah, and all those people came just after we did the Abdallah. So Abdallah is the first who proclaimed the fact that he is the Abdallah we know of.
And beyond your...
Yes.
Okay.
And that is the fact that is a prophetic name from Italy, and we sent it to America. So Abdallah is the fact that is the Islamic fact.
There's some Islamic element to your family. There's some Islamic.
Yes.
There's some
we have
Islamic part of your family.
Yeah, we have Muslims, we have Islam, we have different types of, but they are also our roots of the Abdallah.
Okay. And aside from your family, one of the amazing things I found about this catalogue and this exhibition is the community it has created around you, Jojo Abdallah.
Yeah.
I think let's talk to some of the members of that community. Let's have a few words with Dr. Parko.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Dr. Parko?
Yeah, I think you can just refer to me as Parko.
Parko,
like
without
that,
the
yes.
doctor. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got to know the artist, Jojo Abdallah.
Okay, so I got to know him through Robin.
Robin Briskin, the curator of
Yes,
this
exactly.
exhibition.
Yeah, and she told me that she was curating her work, and that the artist had a workshop in the psychiatric hospital. And at the time, I was also going there, so she invited me to come have a look at the works one day, and then I went there. We saw the works. I had a chat with him. I really, how do I say, liked the works when I saw them. And this is how I got to know him. So then we had a little conversation. And, yeah.
And in this, I really like your prologue. You have a prologue in this catalogue, and you start the prologue. The prologue, you start it by saying, having last month a lot of time on my hands and no immediate obligations, I decided to embark on a journey to the sites of significance to the painter Jojo, following the course set out for me by his paintings. Can you tell us something about that journey?
Yeah, so I had the privilege of having access to a document that had all of Jojo's paintings. And then I looked through them and I had the feeling of traveling, like having this kind of journey. And the idea came to me to write a travel log about visiting these sites that form the paintings for Jojo. So I took the idea of writing a physical, visitation of all these fictional, all these paintings, right? And just interplaying the idea of reality and fiction using this. Yeah.
Okay. And as a medical doctor, at what point did you decide that you would like to specialize in psychiatry?
So for me, it stemmed out of my nature. I realized I was interested in philosophy. I was interested in questions like the purpose and meaning of life, and these are things that trouble the mind, no matter how well you might be doing in life or not. These are fundamental questions, and I realized that in medicine, this is the only field that actually addresses this question almost directly. So in psychiatry, when a patient comes to you, you care about how they feel and where they want to go, their well-being in terms of their mental well-being. Yeah.
And have you seen any medical evidence that art can heal people physically, spiritually, mentally when they're down?
So I would say I've not been working in a psychiatric hospital long enough to say that I've seen evidence from the medical field, right? But I can speak about my own beliefs when it comes to the topic. And yes, I believe that art has this quality to really ground a person mentally and also heal a person of trauma. So it's a way of dealing with issues that are hard to deal with. So for example, if you had a traumatic event or something of the sort, and it's hard to speak about it to somebody, it might be easier to write about it or to draw about it or to make a film about it. So it gives you a medium of interacting with these parts of yourself that may be difficult to interact with. while also giving you some privacy, because you don't need to share with anybody necessarily. You can engage in your own personal art form. And also the art that other people do help us to also come out of these states, right? So like music, films, and for me, reading. I think books also do this job.
And it seems that through your interactions with Jojo, you've been discovering things about yourself. For example, you've discovered that there's a writer inside you, not just a writer, a poet inside you.
Yeah.
And your first poem is published in this catalogue.
That's true.
Tell us a bit about that process before we hear you render the poem.
Okay, so I just was writing essays and interacting with Jojo and Robin on the exhibition. I decided to write some essays about it, and then some of them made it into the catalogue. But at the point in time, I was supposed to write an essay, and I was feeling a bit lazy. So I thought that instead of writing a long essay, I could write a short poem that would still capture the essence of what I wanted to say. So it was about consciousness. And
Robin had asked you to write an essay on consciousness.
So yes, an essay on the nature of reality, an essay on consciousness around this topic. So it could have been on reality or consciousness, but this was what came to me. And then I just followed basically the ideas that came.
Okay,
yeah.
and we're going to hear you perform that poem together with our musician shortly. Let's have a few words from Robin. Robin, can you tell us too how you got to know the painter Jojo Abdallah?
Well, I got to know Jojo through Ninoy Nate, who is going to perform for
The
us.
musician, right.
Yes, the musician Ninoy Nate has been leading music sessions at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital for what must be a dozen years now. This was 5 years ago that I was going to see Ni and what was then called Accra train station. And Ni told me, there's an artist here at the occupation therapy section, come and meet Jojo. And Jojo had out on his workshed table his paintings of the mother mushroom and the tiger paposhieto. And they were so fabulous, so scientific.
The mother mushroom.
Yes, the mother mushroom.
Is it a psychedelic mushroom, Jojo? Tell us about this psychedelic mushroom. It's on the front, it's on the cover of this exhibition catalog.
I did that when I was in biology. I was doing biology.
Okay.
So I have so many things to say about biology, biopsychology, organization, and all those things.
Okay.
It's now called biology. So it's necessary that all those things which applies of a title in the biology, I go and coops it out to remember the people who are studying the arts. It's so nice that, I do that to remember people. Clever people like professors who come to erase the picture and they are minds just to attract them, fetching their coops with their money and everything. So I just coops the things from the biology access. There are so many events which is in the biology where when I do them in the art event, people who are admired.
Like Robin, and Robin was saying that she was attracted to this painting of
Right.
Mother Mushroom. That's what brought her to you.
So these paintings of Jojo's were more than pictures. They have whole knowledge systems attached to them. And I was doing a research at the time on what I called fungal curating and how mycorrhizal networks could offer models for curating that was more liminal, more multiple, more on the edges of things. And here was Jojo with this whole philosophy on how the mushroom gives life to all crops. And it spoke to this idea of regeneration and rebirth that I was also interested in arts and science and interdisciplinary fields. So this was like a curatorial love at first sight. And I kept up the conversations with Jojo over years. At the time I was doing a research at the Holy Spirit Cathedral, which is where Jojo goes to church, and it's just down the lane from the hospital. So anytime I was going, I would go and visit Jojo. And then a year and a half ago, he had his solo show at the National Museum of Ghana, which Dr. Malik Sako and my colleague from KNUST, Elizabeth Asafaje, have been a huge part of. And so when they were doing it the next time, they asked me to come on board and to do curatorial work on it and to kind of bring out the context and some of the histories and stories inside Jojo's practice. And I use this as an opportunity to also create community and conversations, poetic speculations around Jojo's art. What fascinates me about Jojo's art is how it deals with history and fact and knowledge, but through fantastical, fictional, and poetic directions, which is exactly what I love to do with curating. And so Jojo's work also creates space for my curating forms to take life in relation to.
And that deals with abstract drawing, the biological mushroom.
Yes.
It's called abstract drawing. But what I am doing right now is called drawing figure, which deals with compositive imaginative arts with figure, or I would say figure drawing. You use something like a pencil to do it very nicely. You pass through the figuratives of the art. So figure drawing is also, does not waste time to use painting and other things.
You use pencil or charcoal or what do you use?
Yes, painting or bulk pen, felt pen. Yes, to bring it out because it's a history. People like to see your history that you are erasing. So that is why I did that very, because if I use the drawing painting, it will waste time. So I did the figure drawing to make it very aggressive for people who are very, very intelligent to take the whole show. So figure drawing is also an art which is very interesting. They use chalk and other things.
Chalk and charcoal.
Yes, and other things to bring some artworks out.
And this exhibition catalogue is a work of art in itself. It's so rich. There's so much in here to look at, to read, to feast on, and the whole community that this was created around Jojo.
Another world.
It's another world. It's Jojo's world.
The painting too is also a very interesting. When you do painting, you do the pencil work, then you brush it out with painting. That also is a different world. It's a different, we call it paintings and other things.
And talking about different worlds, again, I had wanted to ask you, Robin, what a New Yorker from Brooklyn, what detained you in Accra, Kumasi, and Tamale for the last 12 years of your life? Works like this.
Exactly. I was very fortunate to come to Ghana. I first came in 2010 and I've been living here since 2012 at a time when there was incredible energy in creative communities and so much potential and desire for artists to come together and make stuff because there was a relative lack of infrastructure. So I grew up in New York where there are like top world-class museums and galleries and everything kind of already exists in terms of the contemporary art industry. And in Ghana, we had all this creative capacity, but the infrastructure was kind of in the process of forming. Of course, there were much earlier infrastructures, ancestral, traditional, communal, spiritual infrastructures. But in terms of like modern and contemporary markets, we had the capacity to form it. So me coming here, I was fortunate to meet some incredible artists across different fields, art, visual arts, music. And I came at the time that Charlie Wotia was starting, and Okay, so you can make this shorter, but basically, I liked what we could create when we came together.
But tell us something about what attracts you to Jojo's art, because from what I see in the catalogue, it's a form of liberation for you too, even as a curator. Can you explain that feeling of how it sort of releases you from the demands of society to think in a particular way, to act in a certain way? Can you explain how you talk about it as mashup? You're curating as a form of mashup curating. Explain that to me.
So for background, in 2014, I joined Caricature Seydu's curating course at KNUST. It was a new course where, he had honed the artistic community to a certain point, but there was a need for curators to make exhibitions about their work, create publications about their work, put their work in context. But the way he was teaching the curators was the same way he was teaching the artists, which was if artists have the capacity to curate their own work, make their own exhibitions, how could curators also have the capacity to think like an artist, to reimagine their mediums and forms? What could exhibition making become? What could language around art become? How could we construct new knowledge and new infrastructures and trace it to our own self-determined sets of canons? And so Jojo has such a liberated relationship to knowledge, history, reality, science, art, that it creates a lot of space for curating like mine to come in and explore folklore, fantasy, speculate. And so just as Jojo is like mashing together maybe Gold Coast, Republic, independence governments, as well as ancient and ancestral times, that creates space for me to put artists, musicians, doctors, writers, designers in conversation and bringing out Jojo's stories. And so for me too, coming from the very orderly, organized space of East Coast America, and where language and meaning are more on the surface, and where in my experience things like do what they're supposed to do, systems go more, at least for the most, like in a relative way, systems go according to how they're supposed to run. Coming to Ghana and West Africa, locating myself here in creative communities over the past dozen years, I became exposed to a lot more fluidity, a lot more coded language, a lot more of meaning under the surface, multiple ways of entering, navigating things, even the way space works. You can be flowing, the way planning works. You can't just plan from a straight line. You have to have multiple directions through which to enter things. And this is really how Jojo approaches art, science, history, spirituality, and my curating could kind of...
And also, the fact is that my name Jojo Abdallah is in the hospital, so I would like to introduce the cause of the name Jojo Abdallah, my life history. That is why I did this art. Jojo, I was an artist. Peter, I was an artist. Then Abdallah too, I was an artist. So that is all. I want to introduce myself to the people of health to know about me. So if anything, from now going, I'll start doing my events, doing certain things very marvelously, and to introduce myself in the Jojo Abdallah.
And yes, a great artist.
Yes.
And as a curator, Robin, can you tell us something about how value is created in the art world? I mean, a lot of it obviously is in the eye of the beholder, especially when you go to an art auction or something like that. But an exhibition like this that commands good value, how is that value created?
Yes, and I would just notice, and like Jojo just did, and like you pointed out earlier, Jojo places himself inside his stories. He places avatars or versions of himself inside his paintings. And that was something I was also interested in curating, because along the way I realized how subjective curating is, how subjective any project of representation is. And so placing myself as like a speaker among the other subjects who I'm framing gives me space to acknowledge that subjectivity, as well as that creative agency that a curator brings to any project. So in terms of creating value, I was able to instantly recognize value in Jojo's art and in his imagination. It just like glittered to me, even though it was in this, corner of the psychiatric hospital where it hadn't really made contact with the global contemporary art world, but I saw what he was doing to be very at pace with avant-garde contemporary thinking. It has somewhat like seeming modern or craft or traditional graphic forms, but the conversations that he injects it with and the ways he puts it together are very contemporary, very ecological, very speculative. I could see all that, but how to communicate it to people, that's where a curator comes in, that's where exhibitions come in, that's where documents like a publication come in, and that's where also creating community and social space around it so that I am not the only vessel of that message, but other people become participants in making sense of Jojo's story. So that's what we've tried to do with Scitech, and that's why it has these multiple aspects of the exhibition itself, as well as the documentation and narratives around it. And there's also a sound piece inside the exhibition, a curating sound piece that weaves 5 years of recorded my recorded conversations with Jojo, with the 6 months of our exhibition process where other voices come in. So something I like to do to add value is also get more people in the process, so that just as Jojo's paintings create worlds, the curating and the exhibition can like create worlds in the lived space as well as in the arts. And I think also connecting it to canons and tracing it through history is really important for a curator to do. And there are a lot of established canons that we know can create value. But something I've learned, especially from Kari and artists around me at Black Star Lines K and USC, is how we can choose our own canons. We can show our relevance to the canons that are established, but we can also expand and renegotiate the sets of canons. So something I'm interested in doing with Jojo's work is tracing it to shamanistic, spiritual traditions, African and communal living systems, where some of the highest, most powerful people in the community will be communing with divine forces and receiving messages that everyday people in everyday life don't have access to. And I see Jojo's paintings and his stories around the paintings to have these prophetic qualities, to have these kind of powers of tapping into things that maybe most of us can't make sense of. So he becomes a vessel to the transcendent for me, and I as a curator try to become a vessel for this knowledge that's not fully maybe comprehensible to the everyday public or readership, and help make that value more visible.
Right. Excellent.
Although I could do things in the side, very interesting. I could do the behavior in villages, how people maltreat the audience in that environment. I could draw certain things, and people very relevant will come and separate that type of quarrel, what they are eventually doing. And it's an act of very interesting art. I did those things long time ago, just to do 1 or 2 artworks on the side only. Then the remaining things, I do things. So this medical thing is the fact that I'm doing my life history for them for introduction.
Excellent.
So I've done it very in a history, and everybody who knows about the hospital can enter for access to buy what we know of hospital.
Excellent.
So the fundamental is that the history of the fact that today is called hospital, Kolebo Hospital, I've done it very well. It is started in Cape Coast, where people come and ministries of health also come, and the elder woman of the family will come and sit down and they talk about health. And they too, they complain when they come. They are also elders from the village. They'll come and complain about what is happening in the hospital, in the village. They say, oh, there's a sickness worrying them. It's called fever. And they'll see to it that fever is solved in the Kolebu hospital. And that is the fact that this were going on. Then as Gordon Gorgisberg came to build the Kolebu hospital. So we have so many records in the Kolebu hospital which has been recorded on. So it's called hospital. So no necessity. But I just want to narrate the fact that today hospital has been considered as Kolebu hospital.
Very good. Yes.
And so what Jojo is saying about hospitals cues me also to the idea of institutionalization and creating infrastructure. And so the Ghana Museum and Monuments Board, the National Museum of Ghana, and Compound House Gallery play a huge role in this project and in adding value to Jojo's art and to artistic practices in general. Institutions can house collections, institutions can create events, institutions can create space for work to be experienced, conversations to happen, and like memories to be generated. And something that really attracted to me when I came to Ghana was the power of artists to take agency in creating their own institutions and infrastructure. And so in Scitech, you also see this hybrid model between the state-led infrastructure, like the National Museum, and which of course was founded by Kwame Nkrumah, and the artist-led infrastructure like Compound House Gallery, where we have artists leading experimental exhibition models, and we can kind of work together across both sides to create value on this specific project and also to create channels for infrastructures that can continue to unfold in other ways.
Great.
And also the fact that healing is also an aspect. That is why I too, in my financial problem, I have to know about healing. So it will cooperate with the psychiatric hospital, so that when I'm doing art, I know the essential of arts which can foster paintings, which can enter people's eyes to heal them.
And so I'm happy to welcome Ninoy Norte to the set. Thank you so much for joining us, Ninoy. And this is the first time that Paco is going to be performing his very first poem called Consciousness. And Ninoy is going to spontaneously accompany him on his Mbira instrument. That's right. Take it away.
Okay. Consciousness, that which you and I have but don't share, that which is ever present but never there, boundless ether, which like air may be brutal storm or gentle breeze, bottomless sea, held into which we either sink or must swim, eternal flame, illuminating the way, still yet the fire of hell, bedrock, birthing deserts, still yet birthing wells, limitless fear, cosmic universe, subjective lens through which world makes sense. That's it. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much, Paco, and thank you, Robin, for inspiring that poem, which was supposed to be an essay, but came out as your beautiful first poem.
Yeah.
Nino, you've been listening to the conversation with Jojo so far. Just as we've been looking at the theme of art for healing, do you think that music also plays a role in healing? Music is so central to the lives of Ghanaians. What role do you think it also plays in our well-being as Ghanaians?
Well, music by itself doesn't heal. It aids the process of healing.
And, explain that. And explain us in the context of your project, your music project at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. You go there every week, do you?
Yeah, we go there twice a week.
Twice a week?
Over the last 10
10 years. You and a group of other musicians.
Yeah, we call our group Muziki.
Muziki.
Yeah.
Tell us about Muziki.
Muziki was first introduced to this circle of performance by a school that we taught at Multi Kids Academy. And they had a Christmas thing to do for the hospital, for the children's ward. And I was a teacher at the school, so they asked me to, play at the hospital. So we went on one Christmas period and played for the children at the hospital. They all liked it. And we thought, well, if they like it, then we should continue doing it more regularly. And the school supported that move. And there was a professor from America called Stephen Feld who funded the possibility of going there every week to do it. So between the MK school and then Stephen Feld, we managed to sustain that program over the last 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in terms of
the healing process.
Children at the school or at the hospital not exposed to this kind of music were interested in what we came to do, and we introduced a lot of variety of musical instruments. The variety of musical instruments brings out a whole new world for them, because they may be used to just the Ghanaian drums, where we bring in saxophones and imperials and gonjes and things, which excite their curiosity. So each time we go there every week, they look forward to us coming back the following week. And that also suggests to us that there's an interest between us and them in terms of the sustenance of our music to their well-being. So we go there mainly to bring joy, not to heal.
Okay, that's wonderful. And let's give the last word to Jojo.
Yeah.
Jojo, like art, does the music heal? How do music and art work on us?
Music is the fruit of the soul. That is where, when you say music, that is where its healing comes from. The fruit of the soul. Somebody may be sick right now, but he hears that type of particular music they are playing, and it goes into the soul to heal the person. It's like a fruit in the heart, and which causes the soul to evaporate. And you see, easily identically, the one becomes well. But art itself is something to do with eventually the music. When you are an artist, when you are doing music, it's also a fact that you are being subordinate to that fact or the fact that you are doing. But art itself is something where you eventually do certain things, where it inspires the whole people. The particular art that you are doing, or essentially doing, that gives the picture, like the mushroom. When you go and, biology people, they are also artists. They write all those things just to defend the fact that mushroom is also the mother of this thing. So when I read, then this is my art. Then I take the history and start doing something. Music is also in the biology. When the musician also reads it, then all of a sudden he goes and composes songs on something like, we say, mushroom. You see, so this is the fact that biology is a big history to apply in the sense that you are doing certain things to defend, because it's not easy. You have to read the biology before you are applied to that factor. So it's this incredible that unless you go to that field, and it's called secondary technical, before you go to the advanced. But in the sense that College of Art, when I say College of Art, it's a different fundamental altogether. So College of Art is the sense that you are being treated to do only college. Then you go to college. You will not be a part and partial of technology again. So it's in the sense that you are doing College of Art to apply to the College of Art you are essentially doing. And we have College of Arts, you go, and we have College of Art Technology. So technology, when you go, you can go and erase, you go to biology faculty, you do all sort of things to equip for your lens and intelligence before you can. So I was telling Ruben that it's not something where you easily incline it. I go to the library, I go to those places. Even I go to Legon University, and I go to history faculty. You pay something, then you show them your ID card, then you are part and participant in whatever you are doing, either biology faculty and all those things. So this is the fact that when you want to get a fine piece, that is fetch money a lot.
Well, that brings us to the end of our show on Art for Healing. And I do encourage you to visit this exhibition at National Museum of Ghana in Accra in the coming days, or you can catch it when it moves soon to Kumasi and Tamale. Before we ask Ninoy to play us out, I would like to thank our studio guests, Jojo Abdallah, the artist, Robin Risco, the curator of this wonderful exhibition, Dr. Parkour, the poet insider, and Ninoy Norte, for joining us today in the studio and for enriching us with all this talk of healing art and for beautifying our studio in so many ways today. And I am Dede Amano Wilkes. We've been on Graphic Online TV's YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe so we can bring you more creative content. Thank you for joining us today, and see you next time.
can't hold you.